Hey guys, word to the wise. So I want to share a little something here. I opened my phone up this morning and it was on Daniel 11. Now, I don't remember the last time I was looking at it. I don't know how it got there. I can't remember how it got there. I probably just left it in my Safari on my phone. Trying to keep my car running at the moment. If my phone gets too cold, it just bleeds the battery completely dry in like a matter of seconds. It's pretty crazy. And I've said this in the past. Every once in a while, I always find it's kind of interesting to go into Daniel 11 and just look. And I always kind of just, personally, I'm not saying I got prophetic timelines or anything. I'm not a prophet. I'm not a bishop or a scholar or a rabbi or a minister. I'm not trained in the arts. I'm just sharing what I see. Now, 3 months ago, I saw something, and I put it all together on this video, and I found it talking about Gaza and how it's a fenced city and how they had just completed, I believe they were calling it the Iron Wall at the time. So I made a video on that and I said, wow, it's a fenced off, fortified city. And when you look in Daniel, which I haven't even located yet, so bear with me a second, because now I feel I maybe should have had that all lined up pre-hand. There we go. And in Daniel, let me just kind of find it. So it's always in my mind. So Daniel chapter 11, verse 14. In those times many shall rise against the king of the south, and the violent among your own people shall lift themselves up in order to fulfill the vision, but they shall fail. So that verse is always in my head whenever I see anything and people start talking about, oh, this is what it was meant in Isaiah and this is what it meant in this. Not saying everybody on YouTube, but people in that time-peace land, one for the time-peace land. I'll just leave it like that. So you go on to the next, and this is where I thought it was very interesting, thinking about what's been going on and how the time-peace land has been going a little overboard, going after the people they say are attacking them. You can't just barge into New York City because you're looking for a bank robber and just start blowing down, blocks. Or, okay, let's just say it's Jeffrey Dahmer. Okay, he's got a list of people he's harmed and killed. You don't just start dropping bombs on New York because you say that you think he's in this area. You know he's in this building. So you're going to wipe out 3 city blocks with some enormous hardware. Like, no. You're killing way more innocent people than you're killing the bad guys. And more harm to them than what has been done to you. Innocent civilians, that is. So, going to verse 15. Then the king of the north shall come and throw up siege work and take a well-fortified city. And the forces of the south shall not stand, even his best troops, for there shall be no strength to stand. But he who comes against him shall do as he wills, and none shall stand before him. And he shall stand in the glorious land with destruction in his hand. He shall set his face to come with the strength of his whole kingdom, and he shall bring terms of an agreement and perform them. And he shall give him the daughter of women to destroy the kingdom, but it shall not stand to his advantage. Now let me just take a pause here. I believe they just before, I can't remember if it was before New Year's or if right after New Year's, they had an agreement to a ceasefire that Biden couldn't seem to get to happen, but now that it's moving into closer to the Trump, now it is the Trump time, there has been something. So, he shall bring terms of an agreement and perform them, and he shall give him the daughter of women to destroy the kingdom, but it shall not stand or be to his advantage. Now, Is this saying something? Now, if this is the timepiece, or if this is the time for this prophecy, I'm sorry, who is the one that is doing who is the mouthpiece for that timepiece land? Is it not going to be to his advantage? It shall not stand or be to his advantage. Now let's keep going through this. Afterwards he shall turn his face to the coastlands, and shall capture many of them, but a commander shall put an end to his insolence. A commander. Like a commander-in-chief? The one that's been on those coins? Who sits as our commander-in-chief right now? Is this possibly going to bring Bibi having to be pushed aside and then bring somebody else in? This continues on, but I think there's a lot that has to happen, and we can line up and see what is happening because God has given us the prophecies to see and understand. So I don't want to sit there and read on, but eventually it leads up into the abomination that makes desolate. We know that the mark of the beast is not really spoken in Daniel or in Matthew 24, where it speaks on this. In Revelations, it doesn't speak on the abomination. So, what is that abomination? Is it a symbol? Is it an image that is put up in place of the temple? Is it a physical temple? Is it a symbolic temple? As in, I believe it's 1 Corinthians 13 or 16, where it speaks that, we are the temple, not temples made with hands. Is something going to be put up in that temple? And then it's an abomination to all those who receive it. I'll leave it at that. Just the word of the wise. Interesting. I heard that when I haven't heard anybody speak on it yet. I'm not saying it hasn't been spoken, but while I was at work, somebody behind me said, look, in the news it reports that Trump did not put his hand on the Bible when being sworn in. And then if you look into the article, they're saying, oh, well, they didn't tell him to put his hand on the Bible, so, they should have told him. Why didn't they tell him? Or, he's done this before. He was already president. Right? Just the word of the wise.